Hello and welcome back to all my subscribers, and if you're new here, you're also very welcome. So today we're going to learn about air assist, what it comprises of, and why you should consider purchasing a kit to improve your lasering, especially when you're engraving. It will remove the brown residue from the top of the surface of your work, and it will also improve the cuts. It'll make your cuts cleaner, and I would hope it would make it slightly deeper as well. So on the table here today, we have a Longer Ray5 5-watt module, and this is very similar to many generic modules on the market. And what it comprises of is a driver board, a fan, a diode unit mounted in normally an aluminium housing. On the bottom, it would have some form of, I call it a witch's hat. And then you would have a laser safe guard around the bottom. So that's it. So that would be your standard kit. These parts here are what you would have if you purchased an air assist kit. Now the air assist kits are designed to fit on your laser, so you need to make sure you purchase the right one. But basically, in the kit that Longer provided for me, you get a regulation valve, and that is to lower but never turn it right off. So that's in its full flow position, and that would be in its fully off position. So you should always have air flowing through it to protect the lens of your laser. Some form of flexible tube, and this is actually really quite nice, a soft rubber. We'll get those out of the way. You get some cable ties so you can assemble the hose along the wiring harness, and then you get the nozzle itself. So this is a aluminium nozzle with, I think, a 3mm hole, but they will vary. A spigot so you can press the tube on, and then in the sides you get two very small grub screws. You can just see that in the light there, and an Allen key to put it on. So let's just have a look at the laser bottom without the kit. So your bottom will vary, but if we have the witch's hat on here, you can still see the lens just down there. And what this is providing is the cooling fan, which is here, its main purpose is to cool the laser to stop it from overheating. But the addition of the witch's hat, you can see, instead of the air coming out of these holes, so you get a lot of wind coming out these big holes and a little bit wind coming down there. So when you slip this on, there is normally 4 bolts around the outside. You can see what it's doing. It's diverting the air from the cooling fan over and past the lens. So when you're creating smoke, the pressure coming out of here is trying to prevent the smoke coming up into your lens and condensing onto the lens here. Now this 5-watt module doesn't have an additional lens cover. So the 10-watt has a brass adapter that you would screw on to here, and it safeguards this lens, because I believe this one is not replaceable. This is actually part of the laser module itself. So if you damage it, that's it, you've damaged your laser. But I will check that and put a note in the description below. So with air assist, whether you have it or not, it's important to keep this lens clean. So in your regular maintenance, I recommend using a Q-tip with some isopropyl alcohol. Put the laser onto one side, very gently with a Q-tip, rub with isopropyl alcohol on, put it on there, rub it around, then look at it, and you move it around in the light to make sure that you've got all the dirt off the lens. And then what I do, I just use a dried Q-tip and just sort of polish any residue which is left off there, and you will see it generally in the middle. Anyway, so air assist. So this is the standard setup on many lasers, but the disadvantage of this is it doesn't work very well in reducing the smoke residue on the top of your work. So let me just show you some examples of that. I've been doing a lot of testing. So which one am I going to show you first? I hope this comes out on the video, and I'm going to get a pointy stick. So this is on my 10-watt longer. And what I'm showing you here is I've got no air, but that means I'm using the standard black, which is out on my 10-watt. And then this was using air assist. I've got 2 passes. Now, we're not really worried about speeds and feeds, although they're both the same. What we're looking at is the brown residue starts from here and it's covering all the work. And then I'll zoom in and we're looking at these strips here. So you can hopefully see on the video, yeah, I can see it on my monitor, that you can see the brown staining all over this work. And the only difference with this one is that I had installed the air assist nozzle and a longer pump, which I actually do quite like. See my other video, I've retired the pump I was using because I find the longer pump is actually better. So this is 2 passes, same speed and feeds. And you can see by just installing the nozzle, we've got 1 extra box cut out. So this is a material test. These are done in LightBurn. And when you do a material test on any new material, never select the last box, because you always want some form of safety margin. So you either go this way, so you're increasing the power, or you can come down a box. You'll get the feel for this when you start doing your lasering tests, which box to use, but never take the last box, because I guarantee you when you are cutting your work, you'll get say if you're cutting out a large project, you'll get to a point where not all your parts are dropping out, which is then very frustrating. It's better to have them just either drop out or push out. So on this one, hopefully you can see that the brown staining has disappeared. There is still brown staining on these little parts here, and that's because the laser has not pierced through the material. For the smoke to be evacuated by your extraction system and for the air assist nozzle to do its job, the air needs to get through this tiny little cut that we've made in the work. So when you start getting down here, you can see on these thin bits here, the staining is far less when you compare it to this side. This, you can see it's much darker here, no air assist, and standard air assist. So that is the main benefits of air assist. Now that was 2 passes, so you can see you still got the brown staining. Now this is, again, 10-watt with 1 pass and 10-watt 1 pass with air assist. And again, even though we're not piercing, the air assist is helping the smoke and debris from falling back onto the work. You can see it all over here. It starts from about here and comes all the way down here. And even on this side, you can see the brown staining. So this is the standard setup of the witch's hat. So something similar to this. This is 1 pass with air assist. So with having 1 pass, once the laser has pierced your work, you will always get a little tiny bit of residue in the point that the laser starts, because as it's tunneling through the material, that smoke has to go somewhere. And what happens, it comes up and it deposits itself on the work surface. But I'm talking about a minor spots in the corners. Then once it's pierced through, the laser is going all the way through, so the air coming out the nozzle is going through the cut and the width of the cut we call the kerf. So that's helping blow the smoke down through the cut, out the bottom, and then your extract system picks it up and takes it away. So you can see here, this is again 10 watt, that no air assist, with air assist. We've got this, on this test it's the same power, and you can see we managed to cut more boxes. So at 95% power we got 260. Here we didn't manage to get that, and at 70 power at 200 we managed to drop that box. And if you look at the backs, so this one is air assist on the right. It may not come out, it does come out on camera. You can see that even up here we're almost piercing. If you compare that box to that box as we come across here, you can see this is almost cut through compared to that. So the air assist is really doing its job. And in one of my next videos, where I've done, I think it was 33 of these matrix tests, experimenting with air assist and how to make it better. So if you've got a standard kit like this, how to make that work better. Anyway, it's a long story, a lot of testing, but please, when the video comes out, I think you'll find it interesting. That is the advantage of air assist. So I think I've explained why you should get it. This demonstrates here the smoke residue, and this is the cleaner cut. So just sidetracking slightly, this is a generic guard that goes on the bottom of a laser. So when you're lasering, it stops the laser light coming through. Now, this is no fault of laser, this Longer. This is just how they're made. If you look at this, and we're looking right in this corner, I'll try and zoom in. The way these are made, they're not just heated and bent. What they do, they cut a score line down here, down this fold line, then they warm it up and they bend it. They do that to make sure that you get a nice square inner edge here. Don't be tempted to unflex this for whatever reason, because you'll find that that will crack very easily. Now, all the laser guards which are similar to this are the same. While we're talking about this one, this is the Longer 5 watt laser. You'll see that this hole here, it will just come out on camera. You can see this hole, let's see if I can get it in. This hole is countersunk. So if I drop the screw in, the head of the screw is now flush with the material. I don't quite understand why they've done that, because if you nip these up too tight, now these screws do not have to be tight, less than finger tight is enough. But I'm going to draw you a little diagram of that in a minute. You're now doing that screw up on a very small amount of acrylic, just down there. So what I recommend is you get a washer on, and now you can see the washer is on top of the material. So it's now, if you nip that up, it's pushing against 3mm thicker material rather than one or half a mil of material. And I think that will prolong the life of the acrylic and stop it cracking. Anyway, that's sidetracking slightly, but a top tip. What is air assist and what we're trying to do? Your laser cuts a very small line, and if we look at it on the side, it's cut a channel in your workpiece. Now, let's say that is the full depth of your workpiece, and then if you have to do 2 passes, the first pass is like this, and then on the second pass it tunnels all the way through to the bottom. So with this one, if you're having to do 2 passes, when the laser is burning this away, all the smoke has to come up because it's got nowhere to go. And then you're relying on very good extract system in your laser enclosure to pull that debris away before it can settle back on here, on this brown. So that's no air assist, 2 passes, and that's with air assist. So that's what you're trying to do. If you can do it in 1 pass, now you'll learn when you do these are called material tests, and you can do them automatically in LightBurn, I believe in GRBL as well. But I've got other videos where there is an external website where you can generate these. If you can get the laser to pass in 1, as soon as the laser has pierced, then what happens is the wind from the nozzle is blowing down here. It expels the smoke from here, and only the top surface here, a little bit comes up. So that's why you get less debris forming on your work if you can do it straight in 1 pass, because you're getting the bad stuff out. Also, this one, when the smoke is coming up, laser light then has to travel through this smoke, which reduces the efficiency of your cut. So that's it. Now, let me go back to this diagram. So, if you've got the witch's hat here, standard, your laser is trying to cut this lovely thin line, and this might be 0.06 of a millimeter. So I think that is less than a human hair. So very, very small. So you're trying to get wind, air, down that curve. Remember, that's what we call it, the curve. That's the distance the laser has removed from the material. Now, if you are using the witch's hat, what happens is that you're getting wind because of the size of this opening targeted right the way across your curve and your material. So you've got the wind blowing down through here, you've got your extraction sucking here, and this is why you get the staining. Now, if you can appreciate with this nozzle, it's cone shaped. So when you've got your curve, now what the wind is doing, it's targeted like that. So you're trying to get the maximum amount of wind down your curve, but you will get some overspill because it can't all go down there, because you're getting a lot of air coming out that 3mm hole, and you're trying to force all the volume and pressure from a 3mm orifice down something that is 0.06 millimeters, so some overspills. So that's basically how air assist works. So when you're engraving, if you put the air assist kit on, if you do a lot of engraving, some people find it better to regulate the air pressure. So that would be full volume to down here. Never turn it off, because your pump has to pump somewhere. If you turn it off, the pump's going to get very hot and probably burn itself out. So you just want enough pressure coming out of your hose through the nozzle, just to give you a little bit of pressure coming out here. Because on certain materials, you can find that the pressure coming out here in engraving, because you're engraving, so you're not tunneling through the material, you're creating a lot of smoke and debris. And with excess air pressure, if you're engraving a square, you've got no gap here for the debris and the smoke to go. So when you start engraving backwards and forwards, all that smoke and debris has to go somewhere. So by reducing the air pressure, you're protecting your lens, the precious bit in here, because you're stopping smoke getting up into the lens. And that's why sometimes it's important to have some form of regulator in line just to reduce the volume of air. Anyway, that is air assist. If you've got any comments, please post them down below. Say, I have, let me just put these back so that part 1, 2 passes. So that's what you're trying to achieve. There is no trick photography on this channel. You get it how I see it. That's what you're trying to achieve. Any air assist kit will help. You do need to buy the kit that will fit on your nozzle, your laser. They are all slightly different, and you need to get the ones that the manufacturer supplies. Air pumps, I've recently retired my big aquarium pump to the Longer Ray pump, and I'll be covering that in more detail in future videos, but I really do like it, and it's really, really quiet. The other one's driving me mad, and it runs quite cool. So that's another bonus for it. Anyway, that's Andy, as ever. Where are you? You're down here. That's Andy, as ever, wishing you a good afternoon. Go and be creative and continue to make some happy smoke, and hopefully I've earned your subscription on this video, and I hope you get better cuts and engraves on your material. Hopefully you'll join me on the next video. Cheers for now. Thank you for making it to the end of my videos, much appreciated. If you like what I'm doing and I've earned your trust and respect, perhaps you would consider subscribing. If you leave a comment, I will answer them as well. And if you give me a thumbs up, it will put a smile on my face. Perhaps you would like some of the videos popping up now. See you in the next one.